Hello and welcome back to the Creative Differences Podcast, aka Double D Movie Reviews, the podcast that used to have 4 people, sometimes has 3 people, as of late has had 2 people, and it's probably going to be that way for a while. We don't know. I'm Dallas, and I took a short break from my no slavery movies rule, but it is back in effect.
And I'm Demi. I'm in desperate need of sleep, but we're down to 2 people, so somebody got to be on this podcast, right? Get used to it, guys. It's just going to be us 2 for probably a minute. Welcome to the Creative Differences Podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture-related items. Today, we will be reviewing Emancipation and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Yes. If you're wondering where the other 2 are, they once again could not be bothered. So here we are.
That's not true. It's not that necessarily that Gabby cannot be bothered, but Gabby's not getting much sleep.
But, you know, Gabby has her reason.
Gabby has responsibilities.
Yeah. I think in podcast canon, we still haven't said what it is, and we won't.
No, we have not.
We're like James Gunn right now. Don't worry about it.
We will not confirm or deny any rumors.
Exactly. Colin couldn't be bothered. But before we get into the episode, please like, share, subscribe, hit the buttons, hit the bells. If not, I watched a slave movie for nothing.
Yeah, I was supposed to watch said slave movie with him, but a lot of stuff happened today, and it just did not happen. But speaking of said slave movie, Dallas, you want to tell us about Emancipation?
Let's talk about Emancipation.
Tell us about Will Smith getting that Oscar nom again.
I can't wait. It's directed by Antoine Fuqua, who made Training Day, The Equalizer, Magnificent Seven, King Arthur movie back in the day.
I believe that movie is just called King Arthur.
Yes, sure it is. Written by William N. Collage, who wrote Accepted, Allegiant, and Assassin's Creed. I really like Accepted, right? I saw Assassin's Creed. I didn't see Allegiant. I didn't know this man wrote all these things. I had never heard his name before.
All of those movies don't belong in the same category as this one.
He has some range in his tone. The movie stars Will Smith, Ben Foster, Charmaine Bingwa, and Mustafa Shakir. And it is based on the real-life story of Gordon, whose name is Peter in the movie, for some reason. Former slave, and the photographs of his back. You've seen the pictures. The slave.
They're in all the history books.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about him. It's his story. It is loosely based on his story. I don't know how much of this happened, but, you know, that's what movies are. IMDb summary says, a runaway slave forges through the swamps of Louisiana on a torturous journey to escape plantation owners that nearly killed him. So first, I want to get something out of the way. I know that not everybody knows anything about movies and how they work, but I'm very tired of hearing people say, like, oh man, they canceled Will, so now he has to do a slave movie. Look what y'all made Will do after he did the slap. Like, bro, it takes movies so long to be made. This movie was announced 2 years ago, well before Will slapped fire out of Chris Rock's face. It's just, you know, coincidentally, the next movie he was making happened to be the slave movie. And coincidentally, the Oscars do love slave movies. So I am looking forward to seeing what that turns out to be. Like, oh, I'm thinking of that meme with like the guy who has to push a button and it's like, keep blacklisting Will,
yeah.
or nominate the slave movie. But we'll see. Yeah, so the movie itself, Will was very good, as expected, you know. Great actor. My favorite, actually. It's a slave movie, all right. Like, I was reminded, I never forgot why I don't watch slavery movies. The only reason I watched this, A, Will Smith, B, Antoine Fuqua, and C, the trailer looked more like an action slave movie. Like, you know, he's swinging his shovels at the camera like he's killing somebody, which does happen.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's not just we're going to get whipped for 2 hours. There is a lot of the horrors of slavery, and I don't enjoy watching that. But I powered through it for Will and Antoine. And after I did, I got to see Will do some overseers like Zero did Pendansky in Holes. Swing shovel to the face and everything. It's more of an action movie than your typical slave movie, which I appreciate. Because if I'm going to have to watch slavery, I'm glad I got to see a couple white devils get popped on at least. Other than that, it's like, it's not enjoyable. Like, slavery movies are not enjoyable to watch for me. It's well made. Antoine makes movies very well. It looks good. It is visceral. It gets the point across very well. It's not a point that I feel like I need to go back to anymore. Like, as a viewer, I'm not going to say that, you know, we need to stop making slavery movies because, you know, history is important. But I understand why generally speaking, when I talk to black people, they're like, no, I don't do that anymore. It's just, I don't need the black pain in my movies right now. And that's fair. But like I said, it stands out in certain ways. It's kind of an action movie. Will Smith fights an alligator.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what it is this year with our icons fighting animals. Idris fought a lion a few months ago. No, Will's fighting an alligator. I don't know what's going on. I was, not to say that I was like tuned out or anything, but when you see an alligator dive at somebody, you kind of perk up. Like I was sitting on the couch and I kind of, what was that, an alligator? And yeah, he fought it. And that's a thing that happens in the movie. So hey, if you want to see Will Smith fight, if you want to see Hitch kill an alligator,
I do. I really do.
right? Also, the last act is a war movie. Like it goes slavery and then, escape from slavery and then Civil War, like glory meets Saving Private Ryan. It's an interesting mix of things, all of which are done well, but I can very much understand if it's not your thing. As I've said, it's not really mine. Not a whole lot else to say. The acting is good. The visuals are good. Ben Foster's always good, even though he's playing a white devil, so I hate him.
Yes. Some really great actors end up playing those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, I hate that you're doing this, but also somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it, right? Like, I was thinking about certain things in this movie happen. Like, it doesn't shy away from anything, which I don't enjoy, but do appreciate. But on the other hand, I was thinking, like, why did Antoine want to make this movie? Why did he want to subject me to this personally? Myself personally. But I get it. Like when Till came out, I understood all the people who said they didn't want to see it. I'm one of those people. But I also understand the need for movies like that. Not everybody knows about Emmett Till and the history because they're not going to teach you that in school. I didn't learn that in school. So I understand the need for stuff like that.
I feel like I did learn that in school, but I feel like it's we get Black History Month for a month.
Exactly.
So it's
4 weeks, you better cram it all in. It's mostly Martin Luther King.
Yeah, here's a sentence in a paragraph about that period of history.
Right. And
that's about it.
Slavery, like my initial thought was, well, I mean, we all know about slavery already, so it's not the same as the Emmett Till situation. But then you hear these stories about books in the South and how they're trying to rework phrases like, oh, let's use like servitude, or what do they say in Thor Ragnarok, the prisoners with jobs. Like, so if they are going to keep trying to whitewash history, we do need to keep putting out the real representation out there, just so we don't get to a point where kids are going to school thinking like, oh, slavery was a choice, or whatever dumb thing Kanye is saying this week.
Yeah, not everybody takes an entire semester of African American history about enslavement like I did in college.
Yeah. So
an entire semester just learning about slavery.
That sounds incredibly painful.
That was the year that 12 Years a Slave came out. Actually, it was out while I was taking that class, and we got extra credit if we went to the theater to go see it.
Right, you told me about that.
To be fair, the professor that I had, though, probably one of the smartest people I have ever met in my life.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think it works out that way sometimes. Like, yeah, the professor at PCC, I think PCC had, when I was there, one African American history professor. But he was that
that's
dude.
The one that I had.
Oh, really?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's where I took the class.
Dr. West?
Yes, I think it was.
Hey, look at that. That's funny. But yeah, Emancipation. I usually do the thing at the end, like, I recommend this if ... But if you want to see a slave movie or not. If you like Will as much as I do, and that was enough for you to go watch a slave movie, I recommend it.
Now, we're going to recommend it to the people who don't know much about slavery. Go watch a slave movie.
Y'all need to learn. This is your homework. Y'all need to learn it. But also, if you do, just know you get to see Will Smith killing some white devils, and that's always enjoyable. All right, that is Emancipation. We are moving on to something magical.
No, we're moving on to fascism.
Slavery to fascism.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, yes and no. I will be reviewing Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, directed by Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafson, who has directed a lot of shorts and 2 episodes of the PJs. I remember the PJs. I remember the PJs. I watched that a lot as a kid. I shouldn't have been, but I definitely did. That was a show my family used to watch together.
That's just not what I would expect for Del Toro's Pinocchio.
Yeah, but the PJs was stop motion though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. They're on my hoodie that I'm wearing. I think this is the PJ.
That is the PJs. You do have PJs on your hoodie. That's
I
amazing.
have them on my hoodie. I have a bunch of black characters on my hoodie for those who can't,
Man.
everyone else who can't see me.
But yeah, no, it's written by Guillermo del Toro and Patrick McHale. Patrick McHale is a writer for Adventure Time, and he also created Over the Garden Wall. Y'all know Guillermo del Toro, Shape of Water, Pacific Rim, Crimson Peak, Pan's Labyrinth. Like, the man be making movies, and he be making good ones. And the movie stars a bunch of people: Ewan McGregor, David Bradley, Bern Gorman, Ron Perlman, John Turturro, Finn Wolfhard, Kate Blanchett, Tim Blake Nelson, Christoph Waltz, Tilda Swinton, and Gregory Mann as Pinocchio.
Wow. Went all out.
They did. They really did. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. IMDb summary, at least one of the three. I chose this one because I preferred it. Academy Award-winning filmmaker Guillermo del Toro reinvents Carlo Collodi's classic tale of the wooden marionette who is magically brought to life in order to mend the heart of a grieving woodcarver named Geppetto. This whimsical stop-motion musical, directed by Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafsson, follows the mischievous and disobedient adventures of Pinocchio in his pursuit of a place in the world. Yep, all right. That's it. That's that life right there. This is probably the best adaptation of Pinocchio that I've ever seen.
Nice.
It is an incredibly good movie. Like, you guys, you know the story of Pinocchio. You know the story of Pinocchio. But it's a very refreshing take on the story. There are changes that are obviously made. I usually don't like giving spoilers in my reviews of things, but I do want to talk about this one particular change because it is a huge change from what we're used to. Right. We're used to Pinocchio after the puppet show, after being put into a puppet show, we're used to him ending up at Pleasure Island. The Pleasure Island portion is not in this movie. It has been replaced because this movie takes place in World War II Italy under the rule of Mussolini.
Oh, goodness.
And so instead of going to Pleasure Island, Pinocchio is taken to a war camp to be trained to be a soldier.
That's very different.
It's so different. Maybe more effective?
I could see that. Yeah.
It's very interesting. Pinocchio overall is just a story about obedience, right? It's like I guess you would say that it's kind of like a folktale about teaching children to be obedient. That is kind of the theme of the story. And I feel like this movie goes beyond just, hey, kids, listen to your parents. There is also, I think, bits and pieces of it that touch on when should you not be obedient? When is it the proper time to break the rules?
Right.
You know, with something like this, like, war, fascism, definitely break the rules, be anti-war, be anti-fascism. Even like one of the most pivotal moments in the climax is a choice between being obedient or breaking the rules, which I find very interesting. I think that this is definitely that theme of obedience it's a very interesting look into that. The animation is spectacular. I mean, it's stop motion, which I love stop motion. I think I'm the only one on the podcast who really has an admiration for it and a love for it.
Yeah, I have a respect for the craft of it more than an actual love of like the, like the way it looks and everything.
Yeah, I think I feel about stop motion the way I do about most animation, which is, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. I don't know how you have the discipline to do it. I could never possibly do it, which is funny because at the age of 5, I wanted to be an animator for so long. As a kid, I totally wanted to be an animator. And as an adult, I'm still like in awe of what it takes to do such a craft. We've reached a point where stop motion is starting to look like 3D CG animation.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because for sure, if you had showed me this and I didn't know it was stop motion, I probably would never have guessed that it's a stop motion movie.
Oh, okay.
It looks so good. The movement is so smooth. The animation design, like Guillermo del Toro is already just, his design work is impeccable in all of his movies. They all look really unique, but he's also got his own sort of style. That's very clear in this movie. Pinocchio is a creepy looking thing, but also somehow still really adorable. I can't explain it. And I appreciate that this movie doesn't shy away from the fact that he's creepy. We need to acknowledge this. The people in this movie would not just simply bypass that. Right. The cast is incredible. And it's crazy because it's a cast full of people that I know from all sorts of things. Didn't know that any of them were in the movie until the end.
Nice.
Except for Ewan McGregor, because I know Ewan McGregor's voice very, very well at this point. I've been watching Star Wars since I was 9. Kate Blanchett being in this movie surprised me, and I thought I knew who she was playing when I saw that she was in it. I was wrong. I absolutely would never have guessed what character she's playing. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody out there who wants to watch the movie, because finding out who she's playing is just superb, marvelous, spectacular. Would never have guessed it. Alan Tudyk is jealous. It's a phenomenal film. Really well done story of Pinocchio. I would be interested to hear what you and Colin think, because we have spent the last few months watching quite a few Pinocchio movies.
Yes.
So I would be interested to know what you guys think about this particular iteration and how Guillermo del Toro has brought it to life, because it is very different from the Disney version, both Disney versions. And I think that it's actually...
Was he planning to watch this one?
He was, until we watched 2 versions of Pinocchio a few months ago.
You got all puppeted out.
This Pinocchio doesn't look like a puppet, though. That's my thing.
Just a scary wooden demon.
Yeah. And that's what the people in the movie think he looked like, too.
That's fair. It would be horrifying.
Because he does. It's a horrifying thing. There's still a whale, though. Still a whale.
Okay. No tentacles on this whale?
No tentacles on this whale. I don't think this whale has a name either.
Man, my show's a pretty cool name.
It is a pretty cool name. I would recommend it. If you like animated movies, if you like movies with a really, really good story, if you like Guillermo del Toro movies, if you like stop motion movies, I would highly recommend it. This is a really, really good movie. Like I said, I think this is the best Pinocchio that I've ever seen.
It's on Netflix, yeah?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Easy to find, easy to watch. It's only like 2 hours. There's probably so much more to be said about this movie to go in depth, but this is just a real quick review, as all of these are. I don't have time to analyze these movies, especially not after only one viewing. I can't do it. I just can't. I would love to. I would love to analyze like full on like movies, but we don't have time for that.
Yeah, it's not how our episodes are formatted.
It's not.
Cool.
What you been watching, Dallas?
A lot of stuff, but I'm gonna talk about what I've been doing. What you doing? What you watching? I went to something called the CAAM Black Comics Festival.
Hey, that's right. I considered going, and then yesterday ended up being a busy day for me anyway. So
you had a busy weekend.
I'm tired.
Yes. So what this is in LA at the California African American Museum by the Science Center, Expo Park. If you are LA local, then you know what I'm talking about. They had a comics festival. It was dope. They had like a little artist alley outside where different comic artists and writers were setting up tables, selling their stuff, talking to people. Very dope. But the main reason I went, aside from the fact that this thing is free, so shout out to that. Free is always great. Is that Ryan Coogler was there. And I love Ryan Coogler. He's my favorite director. He's the best.
How was that?
It was dope. It was Ryan Coogler and Aaron Covington. For those who don't know, Aaron Covington is a screenwriter and a novelist as well. He wrote Creed with Ryan Coogler, and that's like the big thing that people know him from. Kayla was like, why have I seen that name before? I was like, he wrote Creed. I was like, okay. But yeah, they also went to school together, so they're like buds. So it was cool to see them on stage, just, you know, kind of just having a conversation, talking. The whole vibe of it was great, because I've been to a couple cons before, and this is not quite a Comic-Con. It's more like a kind of little festival thing. But just seeing a bunch of Black people all together, celebrating the kind of stuff that I'm into. Love that. Started late, you know how we are.
Oh, Lord.
But it was worth it. But yeah, it was just great to see them talk. Like it felt like a very authentic conversation, because, you know, they know each other. They're friends with each other. Every time somebody mentioned the fact that Ryan is from Oakland, there was like a pocket of people from the Bay Area who would cheer. It was great.
Of course.
And at one point, Aaron is like, yeah, so, you know, being from Oakland, and he kind of stops for a second because he's anticipating it. And he's like, yeah, I didn't know if y'all were going to do it again. And someone in the back was like, town business. And I was like,
not town business.
I love it. It was so much fun.
Ain't nobody business but the town.
Yeah, it was really cool. He talked about, you know, the things he's been talking about lately. Black Panther 2 in the process of making it. But he also went into, before, when he was at school, I guess Aaron said the first thing that Ryan said to him when he saw him there at USC, I think for grad school. And Aaron was like, Ryan, do you remember the first thing you asked me? And he was like, no. And he said, do you hoop? Because I guess Ryan played football. And he was like, we're the only Black people around here right now. So like, I was like, I feel that. So I've definitely been in an all white space, see another Black person like, yo, what's up?
Do you hoop? My answer would have been like, nah, not really. I can, but
but nah, not for anything
really.
specific.
It's not life. Ball is not life for me. Sorry,
Ball
guys.
ain't life. Ball
Ball is
life.
life for my brother though, so or it used to be. I don't know if it still is.
Also, funny moment. Ryan was talking about kind of how he got into. If you've seen his movies, you know that he always has something to say with him. He talked about his dad and how he brought him to see Boys in the Hood in theaters when Ryan was a kid. I think Boys in the Hood and Malcolm X, and everybody like cheered because great movies, great films. John Singleton, Spike Lee, and then Ryan was like, I mean, maybe don't cheer because like I was like 4.
Right? Yeah.
He said that like he was so young that he thought all the stuff he watched really happened. So he was like inconsolable after watching the movie. And I was just thinking about Boys in the Hood and like, Ricky! He gets shot in the back. And I'm just like, if I was 4 watching that on a big screen
and thinking that's real,
it would not be an enjoyable experience for me. So then he said that and everybody went from cheering to going like, oh, it was a fun time. Shout out to Ray Anthony Height, a comic artist and writer that I got to meet and buy something from. And then Reuben Warren II, who is a stand-up comedian that I guess writes comics too. Very dope. I saw him at one of Marcellus's shows. So then we saw him. I was like, what's your name? And he said, Reuben. I was like, do you do comedy? He was like, yeah. But always happy to support local artists. Spend more money than I should have because I had Kayla with me and she loves to spend money.
Hey.
But yeah.
It happens though. That's what Comic Cons are for, to be honest.
It be like that. I mean, every time I go into a comic shop with my cousin, he's dropping 50 at the least.
Oh, that's how I feel. Like, yeah, if I'm going to like a con or something, I anticipate like 50 is like the minimum that I'm spending.
Yeah, you got to know you're going to.
I like set a maximum for myself. Like, I cannot spend more than this, but I know that 50 is probably going to get spent.
Yeah.
I bought so much wall art from Star Wars Celebration that I probably should not have.
That sounds like the perfect place for you to spend a bunch of money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need any more wall art, especially since none of it is actually on my wall.
What are you doing with it?
It's on a shelf right now waiting for me to clean my room so that I can actually and rearrange my room, and then I'll put it up.
Well, at least it's somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's CAAMCon.
Cool. I'm going to talk about Willow because I need people to watch Willow. I love this freaking show, y'all. Before we get into it, Willow, created by John Kasdan. He wrote episodes of Freaks and Geeks, Dawson's Creek the first time, and he also co-wrote Solo with his father, Lawrence Kasdan. Lawrence Kasdan was the writer of Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, aka probably the greatest Star Wars movie ever made.
Oh, nice.
Oh, John Kasdan is also the brother of the guy who directed the latest Jumanji movies.
Okay, I was like, that name does sound very familiar, but I didn't know.
Kasdan is a very, very, like, big filmmaking name.
Yeah.
The Kasdans are great, and the Kasdans we trust. The show stars Warwick Davis, Ruby Cruz, Ellie Bamber, Aaron Kellyman, Tony Revolori, Amar Chadha Patel, and Dempsey Brick. The IMDb summary is 20 years after vanquishing the wicked Queen Bavmorda, the sorcerer Willow of Good leads a group of misfits on a dangerous rescue mission into the unknown. But before I watched the Willow show, I had to watch the Willow movie because I had never seen it before. It came out in 1988. So yeah, I watched that. It's on Disney Plus. The movie was written by Bob Dolman. The story was by George Lucas, and it was directed by Ron Howard. It stars Warwick Davis, Val Kilmer, and Joanne Whalley. A young farmer is chosen to undertake a perilous journey in order to protect a special baby from an evil queen. So the movie I thought was pretty good. I feel like that's one of those movies where if I had watched it as a kid, I definitely would have been obsessed with it in the same way that I am currently obsessed with Labyrinth because I watched that at a young age. They feel like similar in quality to me, although I would probably say that Willow is a lot more chaotic and messier of a movie. But it's fun, it's charming, I like the characters, it's real wholesome, it's an interesting world. It was made in 1988, which is why I say that fantasy movies of like the 80s I'm like really interested in. I always like them pretty well because there's like a wholesomeness and an ambition there because we didn't quite have the technology that we do today. So a lot of it is just advancement of technology and like really playing around with filmmaking techniques and stuff like that, which I think is a lot of fun.
Right.
Willow is a fun story, a lot of representation for little people, I believe is the proper term for that. I believe so. Willow is fun, but I wanted to make sure that I saw that movie for the first time before watching the sequel series, which I'm absolutely in love with. I'm obsessed. And I didn't realize I was obsessed until I think I was over at your place. I think we had recorded an episode, and in my head, I was just like, man, maybe I should rewatch the first 2 episodes of Willow again for the third time. As if I haven't already watched it a couple of times. I really like that show.
Sounds like it.
I think it captures that wholesome spirit of the original movie very, very well. I've seen some people call it cheesy. I will not automatically make that a criticism. I think that because the original movie itself is cheesy, it's very fitting for the sequel series to also be very cheesy. I love the cast. I was already a huge fan of Erin Kellyman because of Solo, A Star Wars Story, as well as her work on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where she played Carly Morgenthau, aka Flag Smasher. She was really good in that. She's really good here. I love Ruby Cruz as Kit, who is playing the daughter of Sorsha and Mad Mardigan. Mad Mardigan is a wild name, by the way.
What a name. Mad
I know,
Mardigan.
right? And it's not even like the mad part is like a descriptor of his character. No, the mad is part of the name. It's one word, Mad Mardigan.
Right. Just like Mad Mardigan.
It's a wild name. Crazy. Like I've seen a lot of fantasy stuff and I've never seen a name as crazy as Mad Mardigan.
Is that name in the original movie?
Yeah, that's Val Kilmer's character.
Got it. Because I've heard it before. I think only because I've heard of this character.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
He's a very popular character in Willow.
That makes sense.
There's been a lot of fantasy shows out this year. We've had House of the Dragons. We've had The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, which I have watched both of them.
Right.
I think this is probably my favorite fantasy series that's actually come out this year. I think what I love about it most is that I just feel like it's so easily accessible. There is a true feeling of escapism in it.
Oh, nice.
Willow is just like, you can watch this with the whole family. It's really lighthearted. There's a lot of levity. There are dark moments because 80s movies of that time did have those darker elements to it, and they weren't afraid to have it, but they were always balanced out with that light and with that levity. And I think that this show captures that really well. All of these characters feel like they could fit in a D&D party, which I love. As somebody who loves playing Dungeons and Dragons, it's really cool to be like, this is a D&D party. I think it's just a really good sequel series. And John Kasdan said that he really leaned into Val Kilmer kind of talks like a California surfer dude in the original Willow, which does not fit like the fantasy setting.
Right.
But John Kasdan said that he really leaned into that kind of anachronism that Val Kilmer brought to the role, and kind of in writing all of these characters and making them. We've talked on this podcast a lot about how writers will force fantasy characters to sound a certain way. Like you have to sound like you're from like the older times. And this show does not do that at all. They kind of just talk very casually.
Oh, nice. Not everybody sounds like they're from England in the 1600s or whatever.
And even then, like the end credit songs are always kind of contemporary songs, not quite contemporary songs, but like newer songs, not songs like you're not gonna hear Cardi B, but like you'll hear songs like Hurdy Gurdy Man, Enter Sandman. Stuff like that. And I actually really enjoy that. I've heard a lot of people who have kind of like made that a criticism, like, oh, they shouldn't use contemporary songs for end credit scenes. But I don't know. I feel like it's fantasy, and I feel like we've come to the point where we've kind of created in our head what fantasy is supposed to be, and if you do something outside of that, it's no longer really fantasy, or you're breaking the immersion or something like that. And I feel like it's fantasy. You should be able to experiment and do what you want within that realm and that genre and create your own thing because it's fantasy.
Yeah, it's something similar, not exactly the same, but to what James Samuel was saying when Harder They Fall came out, because he used a lot of contemporary music and composed music for it. And he was talking about how when people were making Westerns back in the day, they had the, like sound, but we got that sound from those movies, not from that time period. So that time period doesn't have to sound like that just because that's what those guys decided the movies would sound like.
Yeah, it's like we've kind of put fantasy into a box. It's like the music has to sound like this and it has to look like this. Like some of the characters have worn denim on the show, and people have been like, that doesn't fit medieval times. And it's just like, okay, but the show isn't set in medieval times. It's set in a fantasy world.
Right.
Like, that doesn't matter.
Right, let them throw their jeans on.
I love Willow. I think it's great. I think it's a lot of fun. And I feel like it's a show that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Nice.
I think also fans expect like the next sequel thing to like grow up with them. And it's like, well, no, because then we're not really keeping the tone of the last thing, which was made for kids. Like we're making the sequel series for you guys, but we're also making it for the next generation to also enjoy this world.
It could be so they could enjoy Willow like the kids in the 80s did. It doesn't have to be like, oh, what are you, 45 now? So now it's for you. Be 45 and enjoy it.
But also, this show has made me realize that if you use woke as a criticism, I immediately discount your opinion on anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, I haven't heard one opinion I respect or value come from someone who's like, oh, no, the show's gone woke. Oh, no, this thing's gone full woke. Like,
if you say
up.
Go woke, go broke, I don't trust you, period.
And it's also not even the best way to say whatever you're trying to say. Like, whatever criticism you're trying to levy at the show. Like, if you want to say, like, oh, they're just trying to pander, or they're just trying to check these boxes, or blah, blah, blah. Like, at least elaborate. At least say that. Don't just, oh, it's woke. Like, shut up.
Y'all are so mad that there are now 3 women in this story and that 2 of them are gay. Like, relax.
People are silly.
I saw somebody complaining that, like, they were like, what happened to women who are diplomatic? And, that's a strength too. And I'm just like, y'all realize that the first Willow movie had 2 female characters in it. No, it had like 4, but it had 2 main female characters in it. One of them was an evil witch.
Yeah.
The other one was a warrior princess whose main thing was that she used a sword.
Yeah. Don't sound like diplomacy.
Sounds a lot like y'all are just being hypocritical.
People are silly.
People are silly. But yes, Willow, please watch Willow. I love that show so much. It is like one of my new favorite things. And I'm really glad that it's actually ending in 2023 instead of 2022. So I don't have to worry about it being on my television list this year.
Oh, wait, this is a weekly thing?
It is a weekly thing. There are only 3 episodes out as of this release of this podcast.
And it's Disney Plus, yeah?
It is on Disney Plus and it's fantastic. It's great. It looks good. The story is a lot of fun. Watch it. It's great.
Nice.
But also, you should probably watch the movie first if you haven't seen that.
Fair. Continuity and all that.
Yeah.
All right. Taking it to the news. We are trailer checking. We have some video games. But before that, we have The Bad Batch, Season 2. The Bad Batch.
That's all for me.
Is back.
Yeah, speaking of Lucasfilm, The Bad Batch.
Oh, look at that.
Because Lucasfilm does Willow. The Bad Batch. I liked Season 1. It's not my favorite Star Wars thing ever. That's kind of hard to do, though. My favorite Star Wars thing ever is literally the original Star Wars movie. It's lightning in a bottle. It's really hard to recreate that.
Fair.
It's the beginning of it all, which is why it's my favorite Star Wars thing ever.
Right.
But I really like The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch is a lot of fun. Season 2 looks a lot more interesting to me than I think Season 1 was. But yeah, it's just a fun misfit group of clone troopers who are now no longer working for the Empire and them just trying to find their way through the galaxy, one job at a time. It sounds like Wanda Sykes is in this season.
That's what I thought. I was like, yo, is that Wanda Sykes?
I was like, what is Wanda Sykes? Is that? I know that's her voice, but I'm also questioning myself.
She's a very recognizable voice.
But it's also Star Wars, so I was just like, I don't know. But she's also on the Harley Quinn show, so.
Right? Yeah, well, she was the storybook lady? Yeah.
So maybe she's doing a lot more voice acting now. That's cool.
Nice.
I've also been a huge fan of Michelle Ang, who plays Omega, since I was a child when she was on a show called The Tribe. That is a deep cut. It's a very deep cut, especially because that was a show in New Zealand, and I was a huge fan of it as a kid in America.
Gracious.
Yeah, my love of obscure actors goes back to childhood.
You are global.
I am
with the
global.
Obscure actors.
Yeah, and now she's in my favorite franchise of all time. She also played my cousin's favorite character on The Tribe, so that's really cool. But yeah, Michelle Ang playing Omega, I'm just glad that she's on the show. I'm super excited to see where the story goes, especially now that Andor has come out. And we've seen what they've done with Andor and what's happening in that corner of the galaxy during the creation of the rebellion. The Bad Batch kind of takes place I guess a decade before that.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see what happens next. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm going to watch anything Star Wars related that comes out. I'm going to be one of those weirdos that they talk about on Twitter who names off a random character from a very specific thing in the Star Wars universe. But Gunji is in this trailer, and I love Gunji so much, and I'm so happy he's alive because the idea of him having died in Order 66 made me sad. Okay? That trio of episodes, that arc in the Clone Wars where the Padawans get their lightsabers and their kyber crystals, that is like one of my favorite arcs in the Clone Wars, and Gunji is precious. I was so happy to see that he's alive.
I'm happy for you.
So yes, I am that Star Wars fan.
Yes, we've seen the tweets. Oh, Gleb Shitto's back.
I'm that person. And honestly, every time I see that tweet, I'm like, you know what? Leave me alone, okay? I like my Star Wars, okay?
It's so funny because I'm on the Bad Batch Wikipedia right now. So I was like, let me find this character she's talking about. I was like, where is this person? They're like all the way at the bottom. It's like
Yeah.
right before it says also Wanda Sykes is here.
Yes, because Gunji's great. And he's like one of the only Wookiee Jedi, if not the only Wookiee Jedi. And his lightsaber is made out of wood. It's so cool. But also, like I said, that arc in the Clone Wars, highly recommend it. It's one of my favorites because you get to see a lot more into like how the Jedi go from younglings to Padawans and get all their lightsaber stuff. And I thought that that was really cool. And David Tennant is in that, is a character in one of those episodes. It's great.
Nice.
That's the Bad Batch. I'm excited. It starts January 4th. A lot of fans were getting concerned that, you know, that show wasn't really getting promotion, and it's coming up very fast. So I'm excited.
Yeah. D. Bradley Baker plays the whole Bad Batch?
Yes, because he plays all of the clones. He plays all of the Boba Fett, Jango Fett.
That makes sense.
So that means he plays all of the clones as well.
Wow. Putting them to work. Nice, nice, nice. Continuing on with Star Wars, but now in a video game. Jedi Survivor.
Excited for that too. I still have not finished playing Fallen Order. I got like 50% of the way through. I need to take all of my data off of my brother's PS4 and put it onto my PlayStation 5. I love that game though. I love the first game. The gameplay is super fun. It's one of those games that like stresses me out, but in a good way, not in the I'm so stressed out I have to stop playing.
Right.
Like in a I can't really beat this, but also like I'm trying to sneak around and that stresses me. I don't like sneaking around in video games. It stresses me out. I get really into it.
I hate doing that. And like all the parts in the Spider-Man game, we have to play as Mary Jane, but you just sneak because she has no powers. I'm like, why am I doing this?
I think I've done that part in the museum, and that also was stressing me out.
It's
like
so
I'm
stressful,
like
that part.
I'm like, you would think I was actually the person in this video game with how stressed
like
out I am.
If they catch you in the game, they can catch you in real life.
I think this all goes back to watching my dad play Metal Gear Solid as a child. I hated that sound whenever you would get caught. I think that's where all my anxiety comes from.
I could definitely see that.
But yeah, I love the gameplay. It looks like they've expanded upon that in this game for Jedi Survivor. I really like Cal Kestis as a character. I have a lightsaber collection that is far too expensive. I will not say how much money I've spent on all of these lightsabers overall, but I do have a Cal Kestis lightsaber. And I love it. It's a really well-made saber made by, I want to say he's Russian, by a Russian saber maker named Denis. I will put his name in here because he's a really great lightsaber maker. He makes does quality work. Highly recommend if you are planning to get into this lightsaber hobby that I'm into. But speaking of my lightsaber hobby, that's another thing I like about the Jedi Fallen Order games is that you basically can make your lightsaber and customize it however you want. And it seems like the options are only getting like more like varied as these games go on. So like the first game, you could change like the color and like the metal and all that sort of stuff. I think I'm just going to be like a lightsaber classist my entire life. I only ever want my lightsaber to be blue and single sabered.
Okay.
But you can see in the trailer for Survivor that you can do a double-bladed lightsaber like Darth Maul. Or you could do like Kylo Ren and have the crossguard.
I saw that. That looked cool.
Or you can dual wield like Ahsoka, which is really cool as well. I don't remember how much of those things you could do in the first game. I think maybe the double-bladed one, maybe dual. I don't remember, though, because I hadn't gotten that far.
Right.
But yeah, I get to do all the things that I do in real life with my like actual sabers, like collecting various forms of sabers and what they look like and stuff like that. But in the game, I get to use it as an actual lightsaber, and I get to change out the metals, and I can change out the colors in real life too. But you know, I can't really slice through something with it with my lightsabers in real life.
Throw it at somebody and cut off their limb.
It won't cut off their limbs. I might give them a concussion though. So.
You could definitely throw it at somebody.
Definitely throw it at somebody. It will definitely hurt. It will not chop anything off.
It's effective.
It's effective in a very different way. So
the trailer looked dope.
Yeah, the game looks really dope.
It looked like the stuff he was doing. I was like, yo, this is why people like Star Wars. I get it. Like when he stopped the lasers, which is the thing I've seen Kylo do. I think it was Kylo in Force Awakens.
It was Kylo. Yeah, in Force Awakens.
I was like, oh, that's dope. And he like put up the person and like threw them at the laser while it was frozen. I was like, this is a really cool way to showcase all the stuff you can do in the game. And video game trailers are always interesting because it like goes from like cinematic to gameplay, and it's like, oh wow, that looks so real. Okay, well now it's like a video game, but oh wait, we're back to like cinematic parts. It looks dope. I really like Cameron Monaghan. I'm probably not gonna have a PS5 anytime soon, so I'm gonna mind my broke business. But it does look like a dope game.
Well, when you've got the money to pay for one, I know how you can get one.
Hey,
I also really like this. Again, I haven't finished the first game yet, but I really like the story of the first game so far. I've avoided spoilers as to what's happening in the second half of the game for the most part.
nice.
But I really like the story. I like the idea of playing as a Jedi who has somehow managed to survive Order 66 and is now trying to survive the aftermath of that because you've got Inquisitors everywhere trying to hunt the Jedi and kill them, which these games deal with a lot.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And it's also kind of, I'm pretty sure it's canon to the actual, Star Wars lore. It's not like Force Unleashed, for instance, which was another game that I loved and actually completed. I will say this, I was also very surprised at how soon Jedi Survivor is coming out. More space games!
More space games. Dune Awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that this game is based on the movie, not just the books. I like the book so far. I'm about 100 pages in or so.
Okay.
But the movie is what really got me into Dune. So
Right.
it's based off the good one.
You mean the 80s one with the weird people and the cat?
No,
monkey?
not that
No,
one.
not that one.
No offense to Lynch, but man, that wasn't your best. But you know that, and I feel bad. I do. I really do.
Oh boy.
I'm excited about any sort of Dune game. I have played a Dune tabletop game. I own a Dune tabletop handbook for the game that I was playing if I ever wanted to run a game. I'm so excited at the idea of this being an MMORPG, like an open world game where you're trying to survive.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until the trailer said at the end. I was like, oh, open world. That's dope.
Yeah, I'm so curious as to what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
I like that all the visuals and stuff are inspired and clearly taking reference from the movie. I really liked the design that Denis Villeneuve's movie had. So to put that in a video game where I'm going to be able to just explore and just walk around and have fun, that's amazing to me. I'm not even a gamer. This is the funny thing. Like a lot of these trailers are like definitely catered to me based off of my interests, which are fantasy, sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, I buy games and then I'll like play the beginning of them and then I'll stop. And that's probably what'll happen here. But
yeah, it happens with me too. I'm also not a gamer, but I love that it's another medium for our interests. Like, you're really into Star Wars, you're really into Dune. You're not really into video games, but they make them for Star Wars and Dune, so you'll play them.
Yeah, I'll try them out and I will probably have fun the entire time that I'm playing them in the beginning. And then I'll just stop playing my PlayStation 5 for a while.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with Gotham Knights.
I can see that. But speaking of Gotham,
oh yes,
we got another trailer. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. They revealed Batman.
That's not even a trailer. That's a scene.
Honestly, yeah.
It's
They
just
call
a cinematic.
it a reveal trailer, but it's just a scene from the game. Man, it's funny the thing you were just saying because, I don't game like I used to. I think video games are fun. I don't really spend time or money on them anymore. But I really like comic books. I really like Batman. I really like Justice League. I really like Suicide Squad. So I really want this game. And I really love Tara Strong. She's fantastic. And I'm always happy to hear her voice. But speaking of voices, the thing that made me watch this trailer was that they said Kevin Conroy's in it. And I said, oh my God, where's YouTube? I got to find it. And it's a great scene. It looks really cool. And then Batman shows up and he starts talking. And then Kayla was in the room with me. And as soon as Batman, you saw that trailer, right?
I did. Yeah.
So yeah, he says the iconic line from the animated series. And then Kayla and I just looked at each other like sad. Like, Kevin's gone. He's so great. He's just the best. He's the best Batman ever. And then the trailer ends with "Thank you, Kevin." I was like, "Oh God, they're trying to make me cry."
Off a video game trailer.
Off a video game.
Or a game that you're probably not gonna finish.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited.
This game still looks hella fun.
It does. Like, I've not seen a lot of gameplay stuff because, like I said, I'm not really a gamer. And to be honest, a lot of times now with games, I'm more into the stories than actually playing the game. Like, oh
Video
yeah, I
games
want to
have a
see.
lot of good stories nowadays. That was
They
like the
do.
thing about the Dune trailer too. I was like, what is the story here? What am I doing? Like,
Right. That's why I didn't realize what the game was, because the woman's talking, and I'm like, yo, this what's she this is an interesting little story she talking about, and it's like an open world MOR. I was like, oh, okay, that's what this is.
yeah, I don't think I'm the Kwisatz Haderach, but you know.
Right. Quiznos Haberdash. But but yeah, I really want to get the Suicide Squad game.
The only thing is, okay, video game developers, I get it. You guys are trying to make money. Like that's the game plan, capitalism, that's the society we live in. But bro, can I please get a multiplayer game where I can like legitimately sit down on the couch with somebody and play
Right.
with them? Because I got Gotham Knights in hopes that I would be able to do 2-player on my couch.
Right.
And I can't. Somebody else with a PS5 with the game has to play with me.
That's
And I'm like, but then they got to be in a different room. I want to just sit down and have that like communal
Right.
experience, bro. And I feel like that's going to happen again with the Suicide Squad game, because this is supposed to be up to 4 players. And it's just like,
yeah.
I want to be able to do both. I want to both be able to play with people who are not near me, and I want to be able to play with people who are in the same room as me.
Yeah, I really hate that. Like once that started to happen, when it was like, oh, you know, we're gonna have everybody buy their own system, and then they'll all buy the game, and then they can play online with their friends. It's like, yo, bro, people come to my house. Like, I have
Right?
a couch. I have friends. We like to see each other. We don't just like to talk on the headset. Like, I like to actually hang out with my friends. Can I play the game?
We're not in a quarantine anymore.
Exactly. And yeah, I really don't like that about games. But
But also, like,
maybe Suicide Squad will do something different. Like, I'm hoping, I'm not optimistic, but I'm hoping, just because the game is based so much around the team, that like in the like PS2, like early PS3 days, this would definitely be a game that you could all play together, because it's like, it's a team. Play with your team. But,
yeah,
you know,
but I think they're still
not
going to
there
make it an online thing, which like kind of sucks. Like,
it does
like
indeed.
I want, like I said, I want both options. I want to be able to play it on my couch, and I want to with other people, and I want to be able to play it like with somebody who is like a state or two away, whatever, across the country. I don't care.
Right.
Because I would love to play with you,
Right.
but you don't have a PS5,
No.
which means that you can't get the game.
Yeah.
Same
That's
with Gotham Knights. And plus, like, if people could play on your couch, maybe they would decide, oh, hey, I definitely got to get this game for myself so I can play at home.
Right. There's so many games back in the day that I would go to my friend's house, they'd have it, I'd love it, and then I'd go buy it. But you know,
Wow, fam. This is the evolution of video games that we've come to.
this is where we're at now.
Coming from two people who are not gamers.
Right. We're the ones coming to this realization that everybody already came to. Oh well. Moving on from video games, back to, you know, TV and movies, the things that we are all about. Mike Flanagan and Trevor Macy are taking their talents to Amazon. Also, apparently Flanagan's developing a Dark Tower show, which is separate from the Amazon deal? Question mark?
Yes, it's separate from the Amazon
That's what he
deal,
said?
but Amazon will probably try and buy it off them.
They should. Like, you signed a deal with this man, get a show. First off, love Mike Flanagan. Anything under his name, I'm with it. All his Netflix shows slap. I'm definitely down for whatever he's gonna make.
I ain't never seen nothing Mike Flanagan has done. However, when I do talk about movies and the current masters of horror, I do bring up his name because that's apparently what I've heard.
He is one of them. I really hope against hope, that he's able to make that Clayface movie in the Batman universe.
That he
So then you can
he
see
supposedly
something.
would like to make.
Right. So then you can see something of his.
I will watch
is-
The Dark Tower.
Okay.
I've never read the Stephen King book,
Right.
but I liked the concept of the story based off of the research that I did before the Dark Tower movie came out, starring Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably watch that for sure, because I think that's
Okay,
a
cool.
fascinating concept, and it's one of the few Stephen King things that I think is not just straight up horror, if horror at all.
Right. He'll dip his toe out of horror every once in a while. But yeah, I'm hyped. Whatever he does for Amazon, I'm with it. I'm with it for the Dark Tower. I didn't mind that movie. Like, you know, it wasn't my favorite, but it was fine.
I liked certain things in it.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to see Mike Flanagan's take on it. And apparently, this is like a thing that he's always wanted to do. I'm always glad to see when creators get to do the thing that they really want to do.
The passion projects. Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
he said that they had actually been working on it for years before even getting the rights to do it. It was just one of those things where it's just like, we really wanted to do it, and now we have the opportunity.
Yeah.
Now we have the legal means to do it.
I'm happy for it. I'm ready for it. Give me all the Mike Flanagan content.
Well, you're gonna get plenty of it, but now you'll be getting it on Amazon Prime instead of on Netflix.
True. Which, I'll just hit the other button on my TV. All right. Moving on. Jackie Chan says Rush Hour 4 is in the works.
Hey, only one of those movies am I indifferent to, so let's go.
The first two are amazing.
Yes, I watched those two recently, as a matter of fact.
Me too.
Like within the last couple of months, because they're all on Netflix.
And they're great. And they're ridiculous.
I grew up on those movies.
Jackie Chan is about to be 70 years old.
And he's still going to be able to do it.
If there's anyone who can do a bunch of insane things at the age of 70, it's Jackie Chan. I find myself worried. What are you going to have this man do?
He will have himself do whatever he feels like doing.
A much better phrasing. What is he going to have himself do? Because even as a young man, he was doing things that people were saying, hey, man, maybe don't do that.
No.
He would say, nah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump down all these lights.
Tom Cruise.
Right?
Yeah, no, I'm excited because I hope that the story is as good and as funny as the first two were. I remember liking the third one when I first saw it, but I was also I wasn't a kid, but I wasn't an adult.
Right.
I grew up on those movies. Those movies have a special place in my heart. They were like some of my mom's favorite movies. Her celebrity crush was Chris Tucker.
Oh, nice.
I grew up hearing my mom say that if she ever got a divorce from my father, Chris Tucker was who she would be going after. So
there's always that one guy that our moms are always talking about.
Oh, my dad also had his celebrity crush too. My dad's is Janet Jackson.
That makes sense. Given the time period, given the age, the demographic, I feel like she checks the box for a lot of people of that age.
Rush Hour movies are great. They're a lot of fun. They're hilarious. The third one wasn't as good as the first two. Those first two are classic, iconic. I still quote the gag reel of the second movie.
Yo.
Not even the movie itself. He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3.
He ain't gonna be. Those movies are some of the best gag reels. Is Don Cheadle's in the first one, right? Or is he the second?
I think Don Cheadle's in the second one.
Kung Fu Kenny?
Kung Fu Kenny, yeah. I think somebody else is in the first one.
That's the thing about these movies is like, yes, he's in the second one. Kung Fu Kenny's in the second one. Man,
because they go to him about the money, about the flaming money.
The fake money. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite scenes. But one of my favorite gags is the fact that for some reason Chris Tucker can't stop calling Jackie instead of Lee. Like he's called Jackie. We let us see that Jackie with me, and it gets to one.
His name is Lee, goddammit. Lee, we would love to see that.
I love that so much. His name is Lee. He was so tired of him. Great movies.
Great gag reels too.
They're so good. But yeah,
I feel like most people quote the actual movie. Sometimes I just be quoting the gag reel.
Yeah, like they're both. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna whoop your ass, and I'm gonna whoop your ass. Just so great.
Iconic.
We will see what happens with Rush Hour 4. I bet Ratner won't be directing it.
Hope not. Bet not.
So we'll see what they do next.
One more iconic line.
What's that?
Push the goddamn button!
Oh, God. I gotta watch these movies again. They're so good.
Right? As if I did not watch them like a month or two ago.
Right, I was just watching them. I think it's funny, when you were here last, I think on Wednesday, we were talking about what to watch, and somebody was like, Rush Hour. I was like, I think we just watched those.
I think I said Rush Hour.
Even though you had also just watched them. They're so good.
They're amazing. Oh my gosh. All right. Next piece of news.
Next piece of news. Speaking of movies I love and the people who make them, Jeymes Samuels back at it again with the Book of Clarence. And man, that cast looks fantastic. He has Benedict Cumberbatch, James McAvoy, RJ Kyler, and Anna Diop are joining the cast, which already includes Omar Sy and Lakeith Stanfield. And this is already going to be my favorite movie of whatever year it comes out.
It also includes Caleb McLaughlin, Tiana Taylor, Babs Olusanmokun, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Eric Kofi Aberfa, Nicholas Pinnock, Michael Ward, Chase Dillon, Tom Glenn Carney, who is from House of the Dragon for all you fantasy fans, and Tom Von Lawler.
And, because this cast is ridiculous, David Oyelowo and Alfred Woodard. Like,
ridiculous cast.
How do you have this many people?
The last time we talked about this, it was just Jeymes Samuels directing this movie, name here, and we knew that it was called Book of Clarence. We didn't have a synopsis. Now we have a synopsis.
We do.
Yes, it is inspired by classic Hollywood epics set in biblical times and tells the tale of Clarence, a down-on-his-luck denizen of Jerusalem, embarking on a misguided attempt to capitalize on the rise of celebrity and influence of the Messiah for his own personal gain. It is a journey that leads him on an exploration of the idea of faith and a highly unexpected path of his own. And Lakeith Stanfield will be playing Clarence.
I am so excited. I don't know if I've ever been this excited for a movie that I don't really know a lot about. Like, the cast is amazing. James Samuel is amazing. Heart of They Fall is one of my favorite movies ever. I love everything I'm hearing about this. I just want to be there when they announce the release date so I can add it to most anticipated whatever year that is.
Ayo, Babs was in Dune.
Okay, who is this person?
He was in Dune. He was in Black Mirror.
There's too many people listed. I can't. Oh, this guy.
He's in Wrath of Man.
Oh, Wrath of Man. Oh, yeah, I've seen this
The Defenders. Yeah, we've seen him in a few things.
Oh, he's in Black Museum. I think he's Letitia's dad in that episode.
Oh, interesting. I've not watched Black Museum since it came out. I just remember it being amazing.
You know what's funny? I feel like that applies to me with every episode of Black Mirror that I watched. I haven't watched it since. Like,
there are only a few episodes of Black Mirror that I have bothered to rewatch.
Yeah, like it's funny because it's not like there's some of them that like I don't think I can do that again, but a lot of them it's just I don't revisit anthologies a whole lot, but I should. This is a really good TV.
Yeah, but I could probably count the number of episodes of Black Mirror that I have rewatched. I could probably name the ones that I've rewatched.
I'm sure you could, and I know one of them, San Junipero.
Absolutely, San Junipero. San Junipero is the easiest one to watch.
And I'm gonna take a wild guess and say the next one is Playtest.
No. You know I never went back to Playtest. Playtest harmed me so bad, I stopped watching Black Mirror for 2 weeks.
That's fair.
I was like, oh yeah, I should probably go back to watching that.
Yeah, take a break after that.
Had to take a break.
Oh, man. But yeah.
I did see Striking Vipers?
That's a good one.
I saw that twice. Once on my own because Black Mirror had just come out. The new season had just come out. And once again because people were at my house for like a holiday and somebody was like, oh, y'all got to watch this crazy episode of Black Mirror.
What an interesting thing to do with the group of people. Yeah, wow. I can't say anything else except I'm super hyped. That's all I got.
We love The Harder They Fall over here at Creative Differences, so we will be on the lookout for the Book of Clarence.
I can't wait. And I love seeing Caleb McLaughlin and stuff because as someone who does fan cast a lot but doesn't know a lot of young actors, I'm always glad when I start to become a fan of one.
You should see him in the New Edition miniseries. He's really good in that.
I forgot he was in that.
I grew up in a New Edition household, so
I could see that. But yeah, that is our news. We did it.
I mean, there's also some DC shakeups, some rumblings, some rumors, and all that sorts of stuff. Nothing official. Apparently, Wonder Woman 3 ain't happening. Man of Steel 2 might no longer be happening. Who knows what's going on over there, man? James Gunn. James Gunn's cooking, y'all. Let him cook. Leave him alone.
Right. Let that man cook because there's so many rumors.
He can't talk about all of them right now.
Yep. And he won't. And I respect that. I don't think we need to know everything.
However, he will call you out if you are saying dumb stuff on the internet. So,
as he should.
Yeah, when we have solid DC news, we will definitely be talking about it.
Yeah.
But right now, it sounds like we're not getting whatever Wonder Woman 3 was in the works. I feel like we probably will still get a Wonder Woman 3. It just won't be whatever one Patty Jenkins was writing.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and wait until they tell us what's going down.
I'm sure that we'll get a Superman movie.
We should. Superman's fun. Or, he can be fun.
Yeah, he can be fun. But James Gunn said that Superman is a very important part of his plan. So, but like I said, James Gunn is cooking. Let that man cook.
That's our take on DC today. Let that man cook. All right. Well, that's the stuff. Thank you for listening to all of it. We love y'all. Thank you to Crown Digital, Brandon and Aya for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Demi, thank you for editing and putting us on YouTube and for, carrying the other half of this podcast on your back.
Yo.
Yes, we are doing it. We're doing it for ourselves.
Yeah, wait till our year-end reviews, guys, because
it's going to be we're going to see. It feels like
it'll just be me in Dallas, and I guarantee you it'll probably be shorter than all the other ones that we've done.
We're going to try to get Colin. We will find out, and you will find out with us. We are not optimistic.
I was going to say, all right.
Yeah, We're gonna try.
What are the odds
But-
on that?
Yeah, not high. But yeah, audience, let us know what you think of enslaved action heroes and Antifa puppets.
Antifa
Black.
puppets. Wow.
Right?
What
That's
a
all I was
phrase.
thinking. Like when you described it, I was
Yo, just
Antifa puppets.
remember the freaking line, the quote that I sent to the group chat from that movie?
like, dang, what was it? I forgot.
A model fascist youth.
A model fascist youth. What a thing to put in a Pinocchio movie.
But a Nazi said it, so you know.
Of course.
Yeah.
The Nazis, they're everywhere.
They should always be the bad
They
guys.
should always be the bad guy. Slavery is not a choice, and Nazis are bad. These are two things we all should know.
We cannot wait to see Indiana Jones punch some out.
But yeah, hit us in the comments to talk about all that. Or hit us on Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast, Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC, or TikTok at Creative Differences Pod. If you want to talk about Will Smith, preferably in his non-enslaved person roles, hit me up. I'm on Twitter and or Instagram at a king named Simba.
If you guys want to talk to me about just about anything sci-fi and fantasy, recommend me some movies, some television shows, I am open. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us. Tune in later on this week. Dallas and Colin, surprisingly, will be doing a reaction to Avatar.
Yes. And if you want to find Gabby, she's on Twitter at all work and no race play. Gabby, I'm sorry.
This is not a Lovecraft Country review.
And if you want to find Colin, he's on Twitter at Tragic Mulatto. Colin, I'm not sorry.
God.
This is what happens when I got to think of two Twitter names. I just go off the rail.
These are the worst names ever.
Anyway, it's been different. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so to me, at what point do we fire Colin?
Well, we can't because we haven't fired Gabby. So
Yeah, but you know, she has more of a reason. We can't get into it, but she has more of a reason.
he just moved. I feel like we got to
That's
give him a
fair.
grace period on moving.
That's fair. We'll give him that. Colin, you're skating on thin ice.
However, doing it when we're at our most busiest is... I'm tired.